Alright team, we're gonna go live in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna run the intro now.
Welcome everyone to Telegram. I think we're live now. Here right now because he's busy doing some development, but we will present something for him for his birthday. Norman, go ahead with that.
Sounds good, Stacy. I'm gonna roll the first clip, the yellow one. Cool. Thanks, Shia, for putting that one together. That was a really nice video for, Greg's birthday. And I think we can roll the other one at the end of the, towards the end of the show, if that works for everyone. How does that sound?
That's great. Well, Norman's our team manager. Do you want to just briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. As always, I'm the team manager of Intercoin, just helping make sure that things are running smoothly behind the scenes over here at our, community currency startup. And so I'm New York based, and I met with Greg, about 3 to 4 years ago, and was introduced to the idea of community currency, and I've been working with the team ever since. Thanks, Stacy.
For sure. And also, we're going to go a little bit out of order today. Elena's only joining us for a short time. She's one of our advisors. Elena, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Elena Rivers. I am based in London, and I'm one of the advisors on the advisory board with Intercoin for a couple of years already. And the main attraction for me was to see how many advantages of Intercoin can be used by communities all over the world because everyone nowadays wants to join a Web3 vision and to have a freedom for their communities with community coins and also with universal basic income possibilities and also with vision of freedom of speech as well. And we have a wonderful topic today with our team members as well as our ambassadors on the call. And I'm looking forward to hear what they gonna give us opportunity to listen more about GameFi communities and NFTs for earn to play because several communities reached out for us to us with questions and requests to help with our smart contracts, and we are looking forward to help even more. Thank you.
Thanks, Elena. Now we have Jamie here from Branch. Last week we also had, I think it was Dan from Branch on the show, and we went over the project and their use case and all that kind of stuff. Jamie, just before everyone kind of jumps in, could you give us a little overview of your project?
Yeah, I can. I was waiting on 12:30. I was like, told Dan and John, I said, yeah, our time slot's 12:30. I was like, I'll let you know when we get closer, but no worries. Yeah, I'll give you a little brief overview. I'm Jamie, community manager and compliance. So I kind of, keep the team in line and try to make sure stuff runs smooth. We did have a little issue the other day on some of the airdrops. There was a bottleneck, but we did get it straightened out. So there were no worries there. We explained it to our community; they understood. And what we are right now, we are going to be running these contests for a month. Originally, we were going to try to do a week long contest. Come in, vote for Intercoin or whatever project you want.
A knife would be nice, I guess. But if you're just saying pure leisure, and I'm not going to be there for very long, a basketball and a hoop would be nice to kind of play the time away on the beach. Maybe a pair of sunglasses, because I'm assuming this is a tropical desert island, and I may need to use my eyes and not be blinded constantly. So I don't know if I had to. My dog, it would be nice to bring my dog, who, by the way, is a Shiba Inu, because, again, OG Dogecoin guy, my Shiba Inu is 8. So I've had her for a long time, well before Dogecoin took off in the last couple of years, when I was into that when it was worth nothing, and I was earning a lot of them a day. So it's like, so I'd probably bring my dog just for a bit of company, to be honest. If that counts as a thing to bring, is that not?
Yeah,
it's a great area.
Definitely. You've always got to bring the dogs, man. That'd be the same. And if you had to choose to live without one of your 5 senses, which would you give up?
Probably. The difficult one. It's between touch or hearing, personally, because touch, it's nice and everything, but I could definitely do most things without that and still be able to converse and communicate relatively easily. Because I couldn't do without smell or taste, you see, because cooking and culinary things are such a huge part of my life. So it's and sight is a no-brainer. So how you meant to? It's pretty difficult to gain. Touch is fine, but sight, you can't really play video games. I'm not going to out here and say that blind people don't play games, but it's significantly harder, put it that way. So I wouldn't want to lose that. Probably touch, actually, if I had to.
Thought about it, I thought it could be quite dangerous because you won't feel pain. You could probably get yourself into some accidents.
Yeah. I feel like I could rig some kind of electrical impulse thing into my skin or something. I don't know. There'll be a way around it. Whereas, although you can get hearing implants, I'm planning on going, whatever you're taking away from me, I'm planning on going full cyborg to fix it. So,
I'm not sure about a few years away. And finally, you're on death row, and what's your final meal?
Oh wow! Oh, final meal. I would have to go with a pizza from the pizzeria La Michele in Naples, which is like one of the greatest pizzas I ever had. And honestly, it was a sensual experience for me. That was remarkable. I've never had anything like it. And so it's basic. And they say to you, they ask you like, "Oh, you're Western. You want a Western amount of cheese, do you?" And it's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, all right. I'm not here for the marinara pizza. Load it up, man. That's what we've grown up with." But it was honestly something special, and I went there many a time while I was there. So, and I'm a big pizza fan anyway. So yeah. And by the way, yes, the pineapple on pizza. All right. End this discussion. Yes, salty and sweet they're a great thing to put together. The one problem I find with the pineapple though is make sure it's fresh, and also try and get some of the water out of it because it can waterlog a pizza. But aside from that, it's an absolute no-brainer for me. Not tinned though, never tinned. That's not pineapple as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of hot fruit myself. So on that note, we'll move on to we're going back to Stacey now, or is it not at all?
No.
Don't like cooked tomatoes. Don't like any.
All right. Technically, it's a fruit. Right?
Yeah, can be technical. So yeah, you just go on now with your gaming segment. I take it.
Yeah, I'm just to leap in from there.
Perfect.
What my jumping off point is, I did collate a few statistics to kind of get us into it and get us into the mindset of why, especially for me, that NFT gaming is something which I believe could really transform. I mean, it puts money in the hands of players is the main thing. People have been the amount that we all spend. Anyone who is a gamer or anyone who involves themselves with any kind of media, I guess you could say, people who participate and add value to the ecosystem that they're a part of, I think is the key part here, is that, without the users in a platform, to discuss it more broadly and not just about games, without the users, what value does a platform have? You need to get something out of it. Sure, you get the enjoyment of playing, and that is a key tenet of what attracts people in their droves to gaming. But when you're with the advent of, in the last few years, microtransactions, and if you look at something like Fortnite, for example, in 2018, 69% of Fortnite players spent on average $85 on the game. Now, this is a free-to-play game, but these are items which, if this person decides that they don't want to play Fortnite anymore, their assets that they've accrued are lost to the ether. They might have something that is incredibly highly prized to someone else because they got it very early on, and that could generate value for not only the creators of Fortnite, but also for the individual who's purchased that thing and for the person who's receiving that thing. So when it comes to NFT gaming, for me, it's about returning some control over their assets, over digitally owned assets for players. But I mean, we're all familiar with the rise of like the NFT market in general, and how much it's worth, But to give you some statistics, again, it's I'll start with saying the gaming industry is valued at about 70 billion. To give you some frame of reference, that was in 2012, and by the end of 2022, it's forecasted to reach somewhere in the region of 200 billion. So that's a 285% increase over 10 years, which, if you look at any traditional investment, that's considered, remarkable. You would be praised as the greatest investor of a generation if you were able to mark that early on and experience that kind of rise. And to riff off of that, the esports market, as a more isolated example, is valued at 495 million as of 2020, and at the end of 2021, it was about 650 million. So it shows a clear trend towards more competitive gaming, whereas traditionally things were a bit more you know, it was people just in their bedroom just playing together. You know, it wasn't a case of you were on the couch, you were playing couch co-op, you were playing GoldenEye together, you were playing some of these basic, you know, early iterations of the massive franchises that we see today. But it wasn't interconnected. It wasn't, the drive to compete was just amongst your peers. Whereas now, with the globalization of everything, you're able to make your name, youth. You know, it was one of those things that I did, but it was a hobby. If I'd known this could have become a career, or I could actually be good at this and earn money doing so, I probably would have given it more attention. But with those figures in mind, you know, 285% increase. If we look at the NFT market, in late 2020, this was marked at 338 million, and it rose by a meteoric 6,500% in around a year, reaching a grand total of 22 billion by the end of 2021, which is just unheard of. You know, I feel like that's greater than even the overall rise of, not Bitcoin from its initial founding, but you'd struggle to get something like that in any crypto these days. So the marriage of the two, seeing this convergence between the two markets, for me is something which it excites me. You know, it's something which I can see the potential. A lot of people can see the potential. You're seeing this today with it's kind of, as the guy from Jamie from Branch, I think it was, who was saying about this is the Wild West. You know, with a lot of things in crypto. The same thing is with the NFT gaming market. You know, it's a crypto gaming bubble we're experiencing. Games are essentially carbon copies of more basic games from the early days of video games. We're not seeing anything that's, you know, at this level of highly polished products that you see released on the PS5. You know, it's all quite rudimentary. And yeah, just for me, I see this as being, I don't want to run on about this for too long, but with NFT specifically, I know I've been talking for a long time anyway, but it's fair to say that the demand for digital collectibles is staggering. Like, I first heard of the concept back in 2019, and I got involved in one of the first NFT powered games, Gods Unchained, and I could have never anticipated the waves that the basic concept of blockchain backed ownership of digital assets was going to make. Like, at the time, you know, whenever we see a new crypto project, we see buzzwords and we go, oh yeah, that seems like an interesting thing, that'll add something to the community. But you can never anticipate where something's going to go and how big it's going to boom. So I mean, if anyone wants to chime in and sort of add something to this and say when it dawned on them that the technology behind NFTs had such unlimited potential, when did it first occur to you? Like Alex, for example, when did it first dawn on you?
Yeah, great. 1 sec, sorry. Yeah, great question. You know, I think when I first found out about Bitcoin and crypto, at the time it was Ethereum and XRP, 2017, within about a week, I was, you know, impressed. Obviously, there was a bull market there, so you kind of, you know, come for the money and the big gains, but I immediately became fascinated with the technology and realized this was something that was going to change the world if it would survive. And that's what you're seeing, you know, cryptocurrencies, you know, and if it doesn't get totally wiped out in some totalitarian swing, you know, it's going to utterly revolutionize the world. You know, with all the bad things and the good things going on in this world, pretty much are all an advertisement for adoption of, you know, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, you know, decentralized finance, as well as, you know, even decentralized social media, and it attempts to achieve that, right? And attempts to achieve, you know, on a financial basis, a more fair world. So to 2017, about a week after I figured it out, and I wasn't in a position to get involved, but I finally decided to completely change my life, quit my job, move out of New York, and mid the pandemic, late 2020, and then I was full time in crypto by November 2021.
Yeah,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Safe to say you decided to bet it all. You doubled down, you tripled down. You just thought this
Absolutely.
paradigm shift, and you saw the potential and just decided to go in fully. I mean, I respect that. That's something. I mean, I did the same, and I'm sure to some extent a lot of us did that and just said, "Do you know what? I'm gonna bet the house and car on this."
Absolutely. And we're still early. You know, and I think look, we're still early. You know, and things. You know, it's not as easy to prosper as it was a bit of time ago. It's not as easy in America to kind of move up the social ladder as it once was, but it's going to get harder. So now's the time to get in. It's still early here. You can be a millionaire. You can be financially independent. You can have enough money to support your family and also the charities you care about and make change in the world. But the time is now, and people have to get on board, pick their area. You know, if they're going to do Bitcoin, if they're going to pick their own project, like get involved with a specific community like Intercoin, or do an NFT project. Now it's time to get involved. The market's not yet saturated. There's many innovations that are going to be needed for the next decade. So get in now. It's time. And if someone isn't willing to, go 100%, support people who are. Get some crypto, get some Bitcoin, get some Intercoin. You know, uh, pick who you want to support, and at least put. I mean, every person should put. If you have savings, if you're lucky enough to make more money than you need, it would be completely irresponsible to put less than 5% of your net worth into crypto. It'd be like not. It'd be like having a business. In the last really since 30 years, not having a business and not having a website or something. Or like a professional and not owning a smartphone right now. It's like it's in 5 years you're going to be a dinosaur if you're not in crypto.
Yeah, I agree. You have to. I think investing in yourself and investing in your beliefs and your, things that you, because what it boils down to is those of us who have decided to invest heavily in crypto, we have done the research. We have taken the time out of our day to educate ourselves. And instead of what I've found being a crypto advocate for so long, especially back in the early 2010s, I would get a lot of aggression directed at me for effectively assaulting the existing paradigm, when I would even have the audacity to suggest that we could have a system that was entirely different and it wouldn't be predominantly cash, and the way that you would go about earning these things would not necessarily be as simple as you turn up to work and you log the hours. It could be, people were very accepting of the idea of investing, the idea of sticking money in on various projects, but when it came down to, well, actually, I'm investing in something which might change the world rather than just a blue chip stock, people would become incredibly defensive. And I never really understood why. Because for me, if someone does approach me with something new, like when I first started hearing about NFTs or I first started hearing about crypto, the information, I didn't divine this by meditating or find ancient stones and, somehow come up with this idea myself. This was other people disseminating their knowledge, and I was more than willing to listen and learn. And I think that that's something that all of us share, and everyone in the crypto space, whenever I've attended these events like the one that you're at or any event, everyone there has always seemed to be some of the most open-minded people that I've ever come across in a variety of industries. They want to learn. They want to discover the next thing. They want to hear about your project. They want to know what you're talking about. And I think that's very attractive to a lot of people if they sort of open their arms to crypto.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and made me think of 2 points, or a couple points. First of all, one of the great famous investors in the crypto space, Arthur Hayes, right? He made a tweet the other day. It was something like, "Excellent investors invest when something is basically, contrarian, or you'd invest in it, you'd be an outcast, right? And then that's when you buy, and you sell when it's mainstream. An average and crappy investor, average investors invest when things are mainstream and sell when they're no longer popular." So I thought that was a good mantra. And you've heard other phrasings of it. As an investor, you want to, be right and be early. If you got those two things, you're going to be extremely successful. Another point I want to make, like, with today's world, what's happening, good, bad, and the ugly. Fact is, if you want to get financially independent, like no government is ever going to make you financially independent. No government is going to, save your, a government could be capable of potentially ruining your life, in some cases, but really, if you have enough foresight, you can look ahead and predict. I mean, unfortunately, some people are in like a totalitarian state, but no government like the U.S. or Canada, no matter how bad it is, no government is going to necessarily individually ruin your life. You're going to have to help them, but certainly no government is going to make you successful, make you financially independent, make you rich. That's on you. So you're going to have to separate yourself out from the crowd, and you're going to have to work harder, and you're going to have to work smarter. So I try to help, I try to set that example myself and help others find out about tools. So I'm preaching about crypto. I'm also, do talk about, other options. Some people aren't willing to go in 100%, but they want to have access to the market. Some people won't even understand what investing is, even in traditional stocks. They just want to sit there and save their money because they think it's risky, because a human kind of mental issue is fear and fear of risk. But if you can get them over that, just show them logic, their odds are way better adapting some risk, because they're going to miss out on so much. I just did an article about enhanced dollar cost averaging, and it was like, that a mental thing people figured out, psychologists or whatever figured out, 30% gain or 30% loss is a lot more painful mentally than a 30% gain brings you joy. So someone's new in crypto or stocks, are going to have a big loss. They're going to just run away. When anyone in any market that is not a scam or a rug pull, like if you're in Bitcoin, it's even more. But even in old school traditional stocks, you get average of 10% gain per year just investing in a general market in America, S&P 500. So in Bitcoin, it's closer to 100%. And if you're into like, other, cryptos that went, mix it up to some cryptos that did well. I mean, you just sit there for 5 years. Almost nobody, like if you don't gain tremendous amounts in 5 years in crypto, you're doing it really wrong, right? So if you're willing to sit there and hold and get past that initial fear of loss, your gains, your percentage chance of succeeding is like somewhere around 95%. If you just sit, invest in some projects and do nothing. So it's really a matter of like logically explaining to people like your odds are way, way, way better when you sit there, not invest, right? So it's worth going the extra mile, making a little bit more money, doing a side hustle, investing a couple $100 in whatever you got to do. Obviously, there's those of us that start our own business, they're willing to go all out. But even if you have a day job, you're not willing to get that risky. I'd say like do a little extra, get some technical training, do a few courses online, get, an extra $5 an hour, or get a better job, move up a bit, and save that money. Don't spend it. Stick it into an investment, digital assets. Hold that for 10 years. It's almost impossible to mess that up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, having held onto many cryptocurrencies through many winters, it's the amount of coins that if I had a longer term mindset, I would have been set, but it became a bit too daunting to hold on to some things. I was a much younger man, and it was not quite, I hadn't been bruised by enough bad mistakes by then to understand and to the ebb and flow of investments, for example.
And every shitcoin isn't created equal, right? There are bad investments.
Exactly.
But the main ones, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you get a few of those. You hold a few long shots, and some of those can go up 100x, like happened last year. Over a dozen cryptos went up 10,000%.
Yeah, I've said to people that when people ask about my crypto holdings or just about my advice or something like that, when I'm not giving financial advice, I'm just speaking my mind and my experience. I often tell them if I had just stuck everything in Bitcoin, I would have been better off. Even though I knew from a technological standpoint that Bitcoin wasn't reinventing the wheel in any important way, I was an early investor in Ethereum. I was an early investor in Monero. I was an early investor in so many different things that, went from being worth sub $1 to being worth hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. But I was spread so thinly because I wasn't sure, because there was so much potential across all these projects, that even when the field of choice was far smaller, I still found myself being attracted every which way. And when I go to these crypto events, you do run into a lot of people who, you mentioned rug pulls, they decide to go whole hog on one thing, and then they suffer one rug pull and they're set back multiple years because it's so difficult to pick the right project. Whereas, money begets money. You need money to make it in a lot of instances. And when people have established means and can achieve a substantial share of a token, they don't have to be like people on the lower end of things, where we have to look and do the research and we have to understand what that cryptocurrency brings, and kind of, there's that benefit of being the early adopter, but it's also much more intimidating to be that early adopter and to attach yourself to a project that's one of 10,000 and you don't know where that's going to go. Whereas if you have financial backing to the tune of millions, you can just say, well, do you know what, I'm just going to buy some Ethereum, and it's going to benefit me just to hold that, especially when, coins are looking to transition towards proof of stake. If you just buy a massive stake in a proof of stake currency, well, you're going to win out. It's as simple as that. And you're going to win out to the tune of many, many thousands. Whereas someone who can only afford £20 here and there, like some of the people who ask me about what cryptos I think are a good investment, they're only putting down as much as they can afford. And I'm telling them to, as you say, this is a long-term hold. All right. You've got to hold this for 5-10 years and see where this takes you. You can't afford to. You're not in the position to cash out immediately and day trade this, because you won't see that kind of meteoric rise.
Yeah, and that's one thing that excites me about DeFi and about Intercoin. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, and but I'm basically, us here, we can be Intercoin whales. We can make Intercoin happen, get some products out, make it happen. Be a whale, be early in something. So it excites me about DeFi and about Intercoin right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's something which, when you see what the community and what the team behind the coin represents, it really makes for, in my opinion, sound investing. I can lose on an investment to some extent, and if it's something which I know that I believed in, I don't feel like I've lost. I feel like it's a case of, okay, learn for next time, do a bit more research, because ultimately that's the one thing that, that's what I believe, that people who don't have as much money to throw around, the one thing that you can do is, we discuss a lot of things like, I'll get into it at some point about like how mining systems work. It's when you look at proof of stake, for example, it's not a case of, mining is about, it's a survival of the fittest sort of mindset. Who can afford the most mining rigs, who can afford the biggest share in order to benefit from proof of stake. It's about proof of work, proof of stake, but it's ultimately just about who has an abundance of capital. But I'd like to see the proof of concepts democratized, to attribute to more things that are like a broader understanding. Why can the mechanism behind the mining not be something so arbitrary? Could it be attributed to something like attaining a skill, accruing knowledge, or in Intercoin's case, which we want to do, is participating in worthwhile causes, giving to charitable causes, benefiting humanitarian crisis, rewarding that education that people have and that striving to better humanity. Why does it simply have to be just you've got a big enough bank balance, therefore you earn more in this cryptocurrency because you're securing the network and you can afford to do so? I think that proof of enthusiasm, proof of persistence will help level the playing field. It's something which, for me, fair competition in crypto is, there's never going to be outright fairness in competition because someone's going to do the research sooner than someone else. But what I want to see is a world where that research can benefit you, and that is part of the system. You know, have you read all the materials regarding a certain cause? Have you done these things to show that you have taken an interest in something? And are you, you know, to get into what we were talking about on Monday, which was about, we were discussing the concept behind, you know, measuring impact as part of a cryptocurrency, you know, how you are contributing towards helping others, which is a key part of the idea behind a community coin. And I think that there's a lot to be done there. You know, we're constantly evolving in the mechanisms behind how you disseminate coins for people. And I think that NFTs are a great way to bolster the possibilities and to get people, you know, play to earn is not as simple as just, you know, it's another, as far as I'm concerned, it's another securing the network mechanism. You know, it could be participate to earn, not necessarily play to earn. And I think that the space is still evolving. As you say, we're early. I think that we're going to shed these outdated means of production, you know, and it's going to gradually grow. And that's why NFTs was so such a lightning rod moment for me. It kind of it was a distillation of what we'd seen until then. And I think that crypto needs a large scale correction in terms of how many projects are out there, and it's inevitable at this point. You know, natural selection will come for those who are responsible for rug pulls. People will become better educated, and that won't be a worry so much anymore.
And I see how like the NFTs go into play to earn and all that kind of stuff. But it's funny, like our topic today kind of shifted. It's like it's kind of all over. We're like crypto and everything. Why don't we go over some NFT news to reset the room, and then we can jump back into like the gaming. Is that cool?
Fine. Yeah, I can bring it towards gaming if you want a bit more, but it's kind of just trying to keep it broad and interesting towards. So I don't want to. I'm discussing things about gaming whilst not necessarily bogging people down in things that they're not involved.
Yeah, can I jump in with one more thing? Sorry, Stacey.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just pumped with it. Take a step back. You know, imagine if any of us 10 years ago, 20 years ago could listen to this conversation, you know, after we got over all the terms that we had no idea what they're talking about. Like the innovation is so exciting. I get FOMO almost every time someone's talking, and I try to keep myself around some more grounded people that are sometimes bearish. So I don't go too much in the clouds, but I'm excited about what we can do as a human race, as a human species, right, with this innovation to improve things. And, you know, I see the dark side of that too. But look, in the end, if you're, you know, creating value, making a difference, you know, the universe or God or karma, whoever you believe in, it's going to reward you. You know, people, your network that you've helped is going to reward you, and we grow stronger together. So that being said, I'm here for it, you know, here for all of it. And, you know, so I like to point people to Intercoin and to crypto. And well, I try to take that hours of content study and boil it down to a few minutes, so you don't have to do it if you don't have the time. So yeah, I'm here for the innovation. It's exciting. It's exciting down here in Miami right now, and it's exciting on this call.
Well, thank you. And I love how we're kind of like all over with this, because it all ties in together. Like there is no play to earn gaming without crypto. Like, you know, just and all the use cases that are going to be with NFTs. This, you know, it's just going to continue. Is it cool if Alicia jumps into the crypto news and then we can jump back in?
Absolutely. I think
absolutely
a break from my voice as well. So.
Hey everyone, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Alicia Anglin here, part of the Intercoin team. I'm an abstract artist. If you don't know me, I've been doing this for quite some time. Met Stacy in the NFT Twitter space, also Alexander Dolores. I met him as well, so say hi to Miami for me, Alex. So happy that you're there.
Absolutely.
Yo. So happy that you're there. Also, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in here with Motley NFT News with myself. First, we do have billionaire Mark Cuban is actually welcomed this week at Miami NFT. So Alex, please say hello to him if you happen to see him. He's going to be there. So I think he's already been there, but
no, I wish. There's so many things going on. It's crazy. Miami NFT, the Solana conference. I'm at the Bitcoin conference. There's a Stacks conference for Bitcoin applications. There's a Bitcoin conference.
Oh yeah,
there's a
he's there.
Bored Ape
He's there for
Yacht
all of it.
Club. Yeah, Bored Ape Yacht Club is doing like, and then there's like after parties every night. I'm going to one with Van Eck, the big ETF company. I'm going to one with Aya Halpern's doing something with Exodus Wallet. Trying to meet up with crypto curator Paul McNeil and Jason Dean from Quantum, and I mean, it's just flat out. So I'm going to do my best. It'd be such an honor to meet such a
absolutely
powerhouse innovator and tycoon who's made it happen.
Yes, for sure. Thanks, Alex. Back in January, actually, Mark Cuban also attended the North American Bitcoin conference that was also held in Miami Beach. Going to go on to the next topic here. So global NFT sales volume crashed, in my opinion, as suspected. Global NFT trading volume dipped. The month of March was a very difficult one for the NFT space, I know, and also artists like myself. The total NFT sector ballooned from 95 million to 25 billion dollars in just a year. From March 2021 to March 2022, the NFT space grew a whopping 493%. So I think that is crazy. So yes, we are still early. That'll probably be 1,000% by next year. Who knows? Mike Tyson actually just announced, the boxing legend Mike Tyson. He's introducing a mystery box NFT collection through Binance NFT. The NFT marketplace of Binance sales began April 5th. The starting price is $44. Bitcoin US dollar coin. Fans will be able to unlock ownership of signed physical Mike Tyson merchandise, which I think is pretty cool for any Mike Tyson fans. Also, we got Snoop Dogg and Billy Ray Cyrus collaborating on NFTs. They're set to launch a new song backed by Animal Concerts and Metaverse entertainment company. 2022 promises to be an exciting year for NFTs and Metaverse in the music industry, which I think is pretty awesome. I'm starting to see a lot more celebrity music artists get involved, so that's pretty exciting. Also, some insider trading. Former OpenSea executive is back in the NFT space, so beware. Nate Chastain, OpenSea's former head of product, was part of the scandal back in 2021 in September. He'll actually be launching his own marketplace, Oval. Not sure how comfortable people will be using that, being given the scandal with OpenSea and the insider trading, but I guess we will wait and see what happens. So that's a wrap with Motley NFT News with me, Alicia Anglin. Thanks everyone for coming. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me any questions, or anything else. If you guys have any comments on anything that I spoke about, I'd like to talk about it.
Anybody? Okay, let's jump back in, Matthew and Alexander.
Right. Okay. Back into the mire of play to earn. Yeah, when discussing, play to earn in particular, to get right back into it. This is why I'm sort of trying to generalize it, is because I feel like it draws too many isolated examples, and it skews towards gaming heavily. And I know that that's gaming finance is part of why we're here, but play to earn is, it can conjure an image of not really necessarily contributing anything worthwhile. Like playing to earn, what are you doing when you play? You're playing a video game, which, you're providing, you're creating NFTs that hold utility within that game. But what are you really doing other than just, I think this is a big barrier for a lot of people, for a lot of older people out there, and some people who just don't understand where I'm coming from when I say that I pour, hours of my leisure time into playing video games. They would ask, well, why aren't you out doing something physical, out doing something real? And the thought of like a pure leisure pursuit in and of itself is widely accepted as a form of stress release or, physical or mental exercise. But when people start talking about simultaneously earning like monetary rewards for doing so, it almost seems like in their mind it's reserved for those that they consider professionals. Like, we widely acknowledge that sportsmen and sports players and various other people, they get paid to do what they do because they get broadcasts and there's advertising money, there's stuff there. But for the people, like, it's almost like, you know, how dare you get paid for playing a video game? It's like it's insulting to some people. They think, why would you get something like that out of doing something you enjoy? And I've been recently reading about some interesting sort of variations and spins on that. Like, I don't know if anyone's heard about move to earn, which is kind of, again, it's jumping off of what has existed traditionally in the video game space, because you're interacting with a digital thing. So, you know, the Nintendo Wii, for example, used to have Wii Sports or dancing games on the Wii or fitness games on the Wii. And now you see, you know, there's games on the Switch, the Nintendo Switch, that offer, you know, exercise routines and use that accelerometer that's built in to gauge the number of steps you're doing, for example. So there's an app called Steppen, which provides earnable NFT trophies almost for the amount of steps that you're taking. And you earn these milestones. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to be tradable and why you would want to take those and, you know, buy those from other people, but it's giving you something. And I think that incentivizing positive behavior, either personally or communally or globally, I think that this is what Bitcoin tried to do with its greed-based system, which is go and mine some cryptocurrency and you earn some cryptocurrency for supporting the network. It was all very me, I want some money. Whereas I think that, you know, expanding that, extrapolating that to wider reward mechanisms where you do something which you enjoy, be that playing a video game, be that contributing to a cause which, as Alexander touched upon, you know, karma, the idea of whether you're a religious person, you know, you go out and you help others because you believe that that gives you something outside of simply the rewards of doing the act. You know, you get your theism points or whatever you want to call them. So for a lot of people, what purely motivates them is the bottom line. You know, are they going to spend their time putting food on their table? And I think that if you can incentivize people to do the right thing, which I think the community coins are going to be the backbone of, that we can really see a new shift in the way people view earning. So I'm excited about that, you know, the concept of participation to earn, not just playing, and because it doesn't have to be limited to games and video games.
Anybody have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I do. If you don't mind.
Please.
Sure.
Okay, so I agree completely with what you're saying as far as incentivizing. So if you take it don't sound like, and I might be wrong with your accent, but I don't know if you live in the US or anything, but over in the US, a lot of our employers and stuff have a program called like Go 365, where if you do certain daily activities and everything, and it's tracked, whether by wearing your Fitbit or whatever like that, by being active and doing those healthy things and doing your doctor checkup, you get discounts on your insurance. So I don't see why, with what you're talking about, why something like that can be implemented and incentivized, because the future is going to be crypto. Everything's going to be going CBDCs in crypto. So everything's going to be on the blockchain. So, I mean, yeah, we're early in the infancy, but that's the way everything's gearing up. And I hope I was able to bring that across the way it was in my head, but
yeah. By the way, I'm British. I'm from England. I did spend a stint in Miami as a child, and I am a Miami Heat fan as a result. I was who I wanted to be with on the desert island, and one of them was going to be Pat Riley. the godfather behind the Heat and the Showtime Lakers, because I want to pick the guy's brain, but I don't know if it warps my accent somewhat. But there you go. But I do love. See, the thing is, what you're saying there about the insurance deductions based on physical activity and going and having doctors' checkups. The technology is there. It's clear that it's possible to be able to give people reasons to do the right thing. And this is something which, where my mind went after speaking on Monday in the team meeting, where we were kind of discussing, our CEO Greg mentioned wanting to create a coin that's focused around, or make it part of Intercoin, whereby impact is measured, your societal impact. And I touched on that briefly today. And it's always been a keen part of what crypto can create. When you were talking about the voting mechanism, that's why I was keen to ask about how Branch does that, because I want to see why do we not have blockchain enabled voting yet for political elections? Why has that not been pioneered? I think it has been, in fact, but I can't think of the example. I remember reading about it once. If anyone knows of when that's actually taken place, a blockchain voting exercise. But yeah, for me, it's something which it seems part and parcel. It seems like there's no way that we can have a world where people aren't empowered by blockchain in a way that they can, attend online protests, or they can.
As far as voting for political and stuff, and not to get too political, again, going with the blockchain technology and the fact that you can trace everything back in the vote and everything, because it's there, it's infinite. So the fact you can do that and they're not able to manipulate that to a degree yet, is why I think that hasn't been rolled out as far as voting on a blockchain for political or anything like that.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right that it offers no means for manipulation. It's immutable. Once it's committed, it can't be altered. And that's kind of the problem, is it does away with mechanisms that sort votes in such a way that they inhibit them from having as great an impact. If you had a blockchain that just said one vote is one vote, and that's how it works across all states and all lines, it would be chaos for them. That's something that they absolutely do not want. The powers that be do not want that level of democratization. They don't want that level of, one-for-one voting, whereby it's that simple. They want to split you up into areas. They want to split you up so that they can keep a stranglehold on how people are represented. And unfortunately, until some powers that be erode away with time, things like blockchain will continue to be on the back burner in areas where they could change the world. And I think it's up to teams like Intercoin and Branch to give the spotlight to these teams who are looking to create this kind of upheaval from a grassroots level that could empower communities to have a voice on a grander scale. It's integral to, the human race. And to drag it back to that, it's not as simple as we're not all trying to enrich ourselves. Sure, we want some remuneration for being a part of something which contributes to good. I think that we all work a little bit harder when we know that what we're doing is a socially just cause, as opposed to something which is nefarious in nature.
And that they fear.
Yeah, they fear what we're doing. They fear, I think, something like some of the stuff that I've been thinking about following on from this discussion we had on Monday, trying to figure out how to provide incentive for, on a social media platform that would promote established causes, allow people to sign sanctioned petitions for action regarding causes, and even attend online protests in something like a metaverse, which would attract the kind of news that a regular protest would get, but what are they going to do? Shut down the network? What are they going to, like, they can't actively police something like that, but it gives the people a voice. And I think that this is something which, if it's, for example, held on a blockchain whereby the computing power of the network that is holding this up is shared amongst all the people, and there's no centralized place which is supporting this, they can't shut the power off. They can't shut down our voices. They can't prevent people from doing the right thing and potentially earning through that participation. I think that if we provide the incentive and the motivation for people to actually get up and do the right thing, I think that it will be a real force for change. This is one of the things that's always been behind my involvement in cryptocurrency, and being a part of the Intercoin team is something that has reignited that fire in bringing crypto to the people, because for a while it got kind of lost in just speculative investment, as people always say. So I'm glad that Branch is doing the same thing. I'm glad that we're all on the same page as far as this is concerned.
I mean, education is key. I mean, you need to educate the people, let them know that, you know, hey, yeah, we're cryptocurrency. Yeah, you can go buy a coin and it's going to go up and down like the stock market and sometimes more volatile, but it's so much more than that. I mean, your health records are on, your criminal record, because I'm a former cop. It's all on, everything's on the blockchain. And once people realize it's going to be game over, it's going to be complete mass adoption. And those of us that are in early now into crypto, even though some people are like, oh, well, Bitcoin's been out 11 years, it's still a baby. And, you know, once it gets out, we're going to be in that top 5%, and everybody else is going to be, you know, struggling, trying to buy one Intercoin or one branch for, you know, $5,000-$10,000.
Yeah, I think it's as I was saying about, you know, when it comes to communities with video games don't get off the ground if there's not enough players, right? Cryptocurrencies that want to change the world, you know, Intercoin, Branch, whatever it may be, without people getting involved and creating value for that thing, it's never going to get far. You need to incentivize people to want to contribute. You've got to give them something. People don't, when it comes to crypto, everyone, and I've heard this at numerous events, we like to talk about these high-minded ideals and everything, but ultimately everyone is here to make a bit of money. And people get involved in crypto because they want to make a bit of money. Yes, they want to do everything else on the side, but at the end of the day, you've got to function. You've got to put food on the table. You've got to do something with it. If you're spending a lot of your time to do the societal good, you know, not all of us are spiritual. Not all of us are motivated by karmic good. I myself am, but at the same time, if I'm going to spend a lot of my time, I would like to make sure that there's something happening for that, because I need to live. You know, I need to afford things. I need to make sure that I have the means for enjoying my life and not just giving it unto others endlessly. And I think that it's a time for experimenting. As you say, we're very early on, and everyone keeps saying this, and I forget, for me, because it's been over a decade that I've been involved, I forget how early it still is, and it's still undergoing an evolution. It's still changing. You know, Bitcoin is proof of work. It's at its base level bad for the environment, because even if you are mining using solar panels, how do you think those graphics cards are being built? You know, that's still machinery. That's still dirty, and it's at its very essence. You know, it's still using resources from the planet. You're still depleting natural resources. So it's not ever going to be something that is clean. And we've worked towards proof of stake. We're seeing play to earn now, where that's about as clean as it gets. And who's to say that we don't say that mining mechanism is simply, how do we secure our currency? How do we secure something? We just say, well, these people have to participate, and through participating in our network, through upvoting user comments, through signing petitions, through attending online protests, every time someone does that, they get rewarded in a coin, which in turn secures the network. You know, it's something which, you know, I've thought about this in great detail and how the mechanisms would work in that you do this kind of stuff. And it's something that is very much on my mind. And I want to help humanity in this way by offering something like Intercoin and giving it something, giving it a facet which instills hope in people and fixes some problems that we all have. I think one of the things I said with a conversation with Carter is we all live on a street that has potholes. You know, we all have a bit too much rubbish that people chuck around, a bit too much trash on the street. And we'd like to see that picked up, but not everyone goes out their way to pick up trash in their local area. Why can't we incentivize this good behavior? You know, why can't we incentivize people doing the correct thing in life? And I think that crypto is a good way to get this, because it's hard to get money out of your local government for these kind of things.
Case studies have been done on that in other countries, to where if they go and pick up X amount of plastic or trash, then their bus fare is free for like an hour ride or whatever. So exactly what, man, I would love to sit down with you. I could spend hours talking with you. I think me and I got
the ideas are endless. I mean, some countries, they don't have this to some extent. You see it in media all the time, you know, people who don't have much collecting a lot of cans and stuff like that. And I've been to Denmark a few times, and they have these devices on the outside of bins where you can literally clip your bottles to it to make life easier for those who need to recycle these bottles in order to afford what they might need to, because they struggle in life. And I think that we can tap into something great in humanity if we are willing to provide them enough incentive to do so. Whether that be in the form of literal bottom line Intercoin, for example, or whether that's in some of the models that I've been creating over the last day or so, you know, you're gifted NFTs, you know, for promoting positive content on our social media platforms, for creating content. For one of the things that I don't know if anyone heard about this recently on Reddit. There was something called Place on the subreddit Place, and you were allowed to, I found this so fascinating to watch it unfold, but every 5 minutes each user could plant 1 pixel on this grid, as it were. And you would think, how's that going to work? But people got together and they started building templates. They started with no monetary gain at all, but they were building templates. And the piece of art that's been created from this it's astonishing. You know, there's some stuff on there which, you know, looks like grand classic bits of art, and they did this with 1 pixel every 5 minutes. And the allegiances that people built on trying to get forward their message as a community, I think that that's something which could be implemented in a sort of online protest capacity, whereby people can get their message out and they can support a cause, and you get remuneration for that. I honestly believe that we need to incentivize good behavior, and crypto gives us that means to do so. And I mean, I've gone far off gaming at this point, but you know, if anyone else wants to chime in on those levels, I'll bring it back to gaming afterwards if I can.
Is there anything else we want to talk about gaming, or are we going to wrap this up? Any questions? Anyone that has questions about gaming?
That's the thing. I mean, I'd love to entertain any questions that anyone has regarding gaming in general, or where they want. You know, I just want to answer some questions and let people pick my mind a little bit. So.
Nobody? Okay. Is there anything else you want to share, Matthew?
I mean, I'll just end by saying that the idea of just to sort of refresh, that the idea of providing gamers with the means to have true control over their in-game items and to have blockchain-backed ownership of digital assets for these users within an ecosystem where they're able to create value through simply playing and through almost their skill level, or to have a tiered system where you're not having the greatest player in the world up against a new person to the game, where you have these levels that allow people to enjoy the game, to play the game, to participate in an ecosystem or a platform that allows them to derive their own value from it without feeling, you know, I mean, I've been trying to come up with the concept of the perfect game in an NFT world, and what kind of balance you need to have to attract the most amount of users. You know, what separates someone like myself who plays incredibly difficult, you know, esoteric role-playing games set in fantasy worlds where you die a million times every time you play, versus someone who just likes to play a bit of Candy Crush for 10 minutes on the train. Trying to find that balance whereby these in-game items mean something for someone, or where earning NFTs through video games can be broader utility based. They are not just only usable within the context of that game, where we have interoperability. And this is kind of the main thing for me, is what's to say that a community coin like Intercoin doesn't say that, oh, you have assets from X or Y game, NFT assets. If you have those, come to us. That NFT asset that you have, that also has value in our ecosystem, whereby you, through having that, you have enhanced powers of giving when it comes to donating to a cause. I think that something like just trying to erode those walls between worlds when it comes to NFTs and crypto. I think that by having this convergence of technology can allow worlds to benefit each other. And I think that bringing it down to that community level like Intercoin offers, and extending that olive branch, it will be something that's truly beautiful. And I really think that we can do something great together. I think that all these industries, while gaming and creating video games might not necessarily be on Intercoin's scope at this time, I think that gamifying the giving process and gamifying humanitarian crises to the point where people actually not just feel good about participating, but can enhance their experience when they are participating, much like I alluded to with that Reddit thing that allow people to put their own personality and their community's stamp on a canvas that represents caring about something. So yeah, I think that it's all heavily interlinked. And when you start looking at things like Move to Earn, that gives people the opportunity to actually get fit and be given NFT rewards for doing so, which again, if you do something like that, well, you may get some that metadata may be useful in an Intercoin sense. That may be useful in another world, in another walled ecosystem. And that sharing, I think, will bring a lot of people together and bring a lot of synergy between what we as a society think will move us all forward. So yeah, it's a really exciting time to be part of Intercoin, community coins in general, and gaming in its most traditional sense. People might conjure images of Mario, but gaming is making things enjoyable to me, and making your interaction with and your touch points with things enjoyable. So that's what I'm trying to do with Intercoin, and that's what I want to bring to the masses. And I think we should all have that in mind. And I think Branch is doing the same thing as well by bringing that voting mechanism, that kind of teamwork and education, and making sure that people know what they're talking about and have that almost proof of knowledge to show that they are able to earn. So yeah, I think it's a really exciting space, and I love that. I love to talk about it, evidently. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me ramble.
Thank you. Appreciate it. If we're gonna wrap it up here, rather than do a song, Norman, maybe if you can run the last video. Norman?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
if that's
roll. I'm gonna roll the second clip, and then we will close out. So just give me a
Sounds
second.
good.
I'll pull it up.
Thank you.
Hey, Greg, wanted to wish you a very happy birthday today. Wishing you.
Hi, Greg. I hope your 39th year